So today I want to welcome Alicia Trotter, and she is a holistic. How do you label yourself?
I would
What's your
say I'm
label?
a holistic health coach.
Holistic
Yeah.
health coach, and it's that simple. That's the name of your coaching. I love that.
Yes.
That is that simple.
It is. It is. I really feel like we have gotten so far away from
Oh my goodness, you're right.
how simple your health can be.
So take us down, to kind of take us down that road. Like, I'm assuming you haven't always been a health coach. How did it all get started? What was your turning point? What's your journey through this whole that brought you to here?
So I actually am a nurse by education.
Nice.
So I was trained in the Western world, and that's all I knew. I didn't know any different. I had 2 kids, and after my second child, it all kind of started with I was suspicious that she had food allergies, even though I was solely breastfeeding. Because if I ate ice cream or something, she would just like projectile spit up.
Wow.
And so I told her pediatrician, I think she has food allergies. He didn't want to entertain the idea at all. So she got a baby dose of the flu shot at 6 months old, exploded in hives everywhere. And I thought, what's in that shot? Never thought about it. Took a deep dive. Well, in 2009, trying to find that information was really challenging.
It's a lot more difficult.
Dr. Mercola had put it out there, and I found it.
I love Dr. McCullough. I've been following Dr. McCullough for
Yes.
15, 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
same.
been around he's my guy that started with the whole vitamin D. But again,
Yeah,
that's
he's
a whole
the
different-
OG.
He is.
So I found out that it had egg in it. I was like, why is there egg? How does that prevent the flu? And I thought, oh, maybe she's allergic to egg. So I just halted everything right then and there. And I told the pediatrician, I said, if you do not send me to an allergy doctor to get her tested, we're done here. I'll find someone else. So I literally nursed her till she was 13 months old. She didn't eat anything else because I didn't know what to feed her. I was afraid.
Right.
Went to the allergist, tested her. She was allergic to 6 foods. So it was like eggs, egg whites, yolks, dairy, casein, and whey, like tree nuts, peanuts, so many things. And
Yeah.
I was lost at
Right.
what to do. So when I went to the grocery store, had to read all these ingredients. This was before they had the bold word at the end, contains dairy. It was like all the other words that you had to decipher.
Right.
Took me forever to grocery shop that first time. And I thought, what is in our food? And what
disturbing.
have I done to my kids? So my eyes were open to like a whole new thing that was against everything I'd been trained. So I took a step back and said, I'm not doing that anymore. I didn't even notice that my own health was so bad because I was so focused on the kids. And I think that's another common thing with women.
Well, that's the mom thing. And when moms are going to look out take care of everybody before they take care of themselves.
Absolutely.
And that is very common.
So that's whenever I started noticing, oh my gosh, I've lost like so much weight, not intentionally, but I was sick, didn't know I had celiac. So it all started with reading ingredients. And then I said, something's got to change. So that's where it all started right there.
Wow, what a neat story. So that's really like just one aspect of just nutrition and diet, and that just kind of changed your whole trajectory.
Everything.
That's impressive. What's neat about today, and I don't know, you're probably already aware of this, but they have apps now. You just take a picture of the product and nope, this has this, and this. I think it's called, is it Yucca?
Yes.
It's called Yucca.
Yes,
I love
that is
it.
what it is
I
called.
love that app.
Yeah.
Makes grocery shopping a lot easier.
Oh, I wish I had had that back then.
See, you should have designed that.
I know.
You'd have been retired.
I do have to say, fast forward, so all of her allergies, she outgrew them all. We just avoided all of those foods.
Yeah.
But also, when I found out she had those allergies, it was like, what do I feed her? I did not know how to, there were some dairy-free things back then, but not many.
Hardly any.
And I had to go to Whole Foods to find it. And to me, it was disgusting. And then me being a new celiac, everything gluten-free tasted like cardboard. So
Right. Textures are usually
I was
off.
not a cook at all. But I got thrown into it, and I just had to figure everything out on my own. And recently, I got the tick bite allergy, alpha
Oh,
gum.
wow. Yeah. Very familiar. There's a lot of people in this area that have that.
So it's very prominent in Dickson. And so what I have done, and I'm almost done with it, is I'm writing a cookbook.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be dairy-free, gluten-free, alpha-gal friendly. So people can take and use however much of it they want. But also, I put the pro tips in there, like this is a good brand. I didn't want to sacrifice quality of ingredients just because I couldn't have dairy. You know what I mean?
Right. And I know with that, the alpha-gal, so you want to explain to the listeners what alpha-gal is, because there's some people who don't know yet.
Yeah, it's a very misunderstood allergen. So the Lone Star tick, which I actually think that it's other ticks and even chiggers too, can give it to you. So when they bite you, they don't have to be embedded. They just bite you. It injects this, I think it's like some kind of glucose molecule or something into the body, and not every single person reacts to it.
Correct.
So those of us lucky ones that react to it, it may not be immediate onset. It may take time, but it's any four-legged mammal product
Proteins.
or byproduct.
Yeah. So beef.
That you become allergic to. Yeah. Most people think it's just beef and pork, but it's like deer, it's bison, it's
it's like anything, like
rabbit,
you said, anything that's
squirrel.
on four legs. Yeah, exactly.
So then, and a lot of people will say, well, I can still have dairy. And I'm like, that's a byproduct.
Right.
You probably aren't reacting yet. But honestly, people hold on to that allergy for way longer than they should if they're doing complete avoidance.
Right.
And so I think it's the fact they're still having dairy. It's the fact that it's probably in their beauty products and they don't even know.
Yeah, and not the truth. There's so many different products have things that I don't think people have realized for the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
Now it's getting more press lately, thanks to RFK Jr.
Yes.
And but it's just a shame that it's been 30 years and we still have these dyes and all these other things. I know the big thing is cosmetics. Oh my gosh, you talk about how
Very
ladies have been
harmful.
basically poisoning themselves and their hormones, and it's just it's horrible.
We could talk for hours about that topic.
Yes, we could.
Yeah. So I would say my basis of everything that I'm passionate about is teaching people awareness of what they're doing. The first thing I have people do is I say, I want you to journal for me every single thing that you put in your mouth, whether it's a piece of gum, medication, supplement, food, drink, anything. I want to know what it was, what time it was, and I want you to give it to me. Don't try to be good just because you know you got to turn it into me.
Right.
But
I'll be
I
honest.
need this piece of the puzzle to help you understand like where we can even get started. And it's, speaking of hormones, the perimenopause world is now a big thing too. What I see so commonly is when women hit 40 and plus, all the things they used to could do in their 20s don't work anymore.
Yeah.
They're actually damaging. And so the skipping breakfast, working out fasted, drinking a pot of coffee, all of that is so damaging. And so when I see, oh, you got up at 6:30, but you didn't eat until 1:30, here's part of the problem.
Right, it doesn't work that way anymore.
Not anymore.
You have to change that.
Yeah.
So how did this awareness? So you obviously went through this with your children and yourself. Well, how did you turn this over into getting into the coaching?
So honestly, I felt very disappointed in the way I was trained. I turned immediately to doctors when I didn't feel well. I had really high anxiety. I felt like I could pass out a lot of times, and it was because of my diet. I was going to that coffee pot first thing in the morning, and my blood sugar was real low.
Right.
But I didn't know I was doing that based off of my habits. And nothing. They never had any answers for me. Oh, you have anxiety, here's a pill.
Right.
Oh, well, you have hypoglycemia, but we don't know why. They never talked to me about the diet. And so I just thought, there's such a huge gap right here. And the pill didn't fix my anxiety. My anxiety was being triggered because my blood sugar was on the floor.
Yeah.
If I got up in the morning and I actually ate protein and healthy fat, I felt better.
Yep.
And so I just really thought to myself, there is a need here. And the reason I got into nursing was because I wanted to help people.
Help others, yeah.
And I still do. I just want to do it from a different place.
Yeah, I see that trend so much in doing these talks. There are so many disenfranchised from the medical field. And I always enjoy that because, again, my field has always been, well, for many years, they say it's out there in left field because we always talked about healthy eating. I've been called a health nut and taking supplements all these years. You're wasting your time and effort, but that's how I was trained. That's how a lot of how I grew up as well. My parents kind of found the natural things many, many years ago.
Yeah, I bet your parents were the weirdos back then.
They were. But that's what's okay, is that you look at the difference in their outcome in their 80s compared to many of their friends haven't made it to the 80s, 80 years of age.
Yeah.
Now we're starting to see some changes in their health, obviously, but that's a whole different discussion. But for so many years, though, they are very active, no medications. Yeah, and there's a huge difference in that. Huge difference.
Huge. And I would say, so I really followed a lot of Dr. Josh Axe's stuff when he was coming out, and he did a program where he's like, get certified to be a holistic health coach. And I thought, okay,
yeah,
I want to do that. I didn't really feel like I needed necessarily to be certified. I don't know. I guess maybe I thought I did having a nursing background, but so I took his course. A lot of it I'd already taught myself through a lot of research, but I just loved the validation of what I had learned was actually...
Yeah, it brings it all together.
And how important gut health was for overall health. And I thought, oh, well, here's the problem. I have celiac.
Yep.
So no wonder I have this weird rash and I'm bloated all the time. And I switch between dumping and constipation. And so then that really pushed me towards supplementation. So definitely got on that because I didn't realize how depleted our food was.
Correct.
Supplements are necessary. They're to fill in the gaps of the diet. I don't think you can't out supplement a bad diet, I don't think, but it helps fill in the gaps even when your diet is good.
I always look at the supplements. That's what they're supposed to supplement.
Yeah.
Your health and your good eating. I always look at the supplements as kind of like my insurance plan. I try to eat health. Nobody's going to be perfect.
Right.
But again, you can also get caught up in the whole supplement world and you want to start taking everything. And it doesn't have to be that complicated. But the nice thing about taking a supplement, what's the side effect?
Right.
Right.
I see that. Plant-based, all natural.
Right, and I see the side effect of medication. They give you a whole sheet of side effects that you have to watch out for when you take a medication. So that's why I've never had a lot of overly concern about taking supplements. I know there are certain things you have to be cautious with, obviously, but what's the harm in trying a supplement?
No, yeah, I agree 100%.
And then the other thing I thought that you brought up, which is interesting too, which is what I teach a lot of my patients as well, is 80 to 80+% of your immune system is your gut. And if your gut is messed up, you cannot maintain a good, healthy immune system. And I don't think people get that connection enough.
Yes, I know. I feel like this past, well, even still going on, I see in the Facebook feed, because everybody goes to Facebook for their medical advice.
No.
It's sick. My family has been sick constantly over and over and over, and we can't get better. And I mean, always I want to say, diet, look at your diet. Are you taking a good quality probiotic? Like, you've really got to target that gut health.
Yep.
And, some people are ready to hear that and they're ready to do something different. And then other people are like, oh, you just want to sell me something, which is not the case. I'm like,
right.
I really do care.
Well, the other thing too is I think from a natural perspective, like we're in, is that too many people expect immediate results, immediate changes. That's not how exercise, that is not how supplementation, it doesn't work that way. Again, coming from a farming background, you can't just go throw seeds out in the ground and say, okay, in 2 weeks, we're going to pick corn.
Right.
It doesn't quite work that way. So there's time and repetition to build back your health. And you look how many years it takes for it to go away. It can take that many or more to bring your health back.
Yes, and I do try to, when I do work with a client, I'll say that you didn't probably notice how long you were starting, this sickness came on. You didn't realize it. Yep. But now that you're here, we live in the credit card, your way, right away, fast food, DoorDash, all the things. And people want immediate results or gratification and that kind of stuff. I said it's not going to happen. And this is just kind of a rule of thumb, which can actually take longer. But if you've been sick for 10 years, a minimum of 10 months before you can probably start to really feel better.
Just to see some change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what a lot of people do not realize, because like you said, I'm old enough. It was the microwave generation. That's how it all started.
Yeah.
But exactly the same principle. It takes time and repetition. But if you stick to it, like I said, in 10 months, you're going to see some drastic changes. If you start making small changes, you will see big changes.
And I think people are easily overwhelmed. So, like we were talking about before we came on, the habit stacking. That's another thing I'll tell people. I'm like, are you a give it to me all at once, I can do this type of person? Or are you easily overwhelmed? You need one thing at a time. And then I can help coach that way. I can say, okay, let's look at what the biggest problem is here. And let's start with one habit. Whether you have terrible anxiety, your cortisol's super high, you can't sleep at night. Let's just say that's one symptom. Go outside first thing in the morning, bare feet in the grass, sunshine on your face. It can literally help lower that cortisol and you'll start sleeping better. Can help the anxiety. It's free. It's simple. It can be that simple, but we need to start with that one habit and we need to do it consistently. Then we'll stack on another habit, which would be don't drink your coffee first thing in the morning.
I love that concept. Like I said, start stacking one thing at a time. It's something very similar that I use and you likely use as well. I've had patients that are drinking 10, 12 Cokes a day. And I said, listen, don't stop drinking your Coke, but let's have a bottle of water in between.
Yes.
So we'll start adding in before we start taking away.
Yeah.
And I've always found that just works amazing. So after a while, they forget about, I say, well, let's do 2 bottles of water in between Cokes. And next thing you know, they lose the taste for the Coke.
Yeah.
So,
which
like
is funny. My youngest daughter, kids, they love their sodas. She did not. I found both of my kids, once they got their driver's license and had jobs and their own money, kind of decided they were going to, eat out more, drink sodas, stuff we didn't have at home. She became Dr. Pepper fanatic. So this year I said her skin wasn't super clear and she said she was bloated a lot. And I said, why don't you try for Lent, give up Dr. Pepper, 40 days, no Dr. Pepper. She said, I can't do that. So it's supposed to be something hard,
Right.
So she did it all 40 days, did not drink Dr. Pepper, not once. And then on Easter, she was like, oh my gosh, I can have a Dr. Pepper. And then she was like, oh, it's not even as good as I remember it being. And I was like, and in those 40 days, her face cleared up. She wasn't bloated. And it just was good because she saw, it's not just mom saying that. I see, actually, she's right.
Oh, she got it from personal experience. And like I said, the personal experience is always the best teacher, right? Especially when it comes with parenting.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I don't want you to have acne and not be able to go to the bathroom and feel bloated, but.
Right. So another thing is, like, do you have any special events that you do? Do you do webinars? Like, how do people reach out, or do people just come to you through, is it social media driven, or how are you doing it right now?
Yeah, social media driven. I don't have a brick and mortar office like you do. So yeah, social media. Most people find me on there. Either it's a referral or a friend. I went to school with you a long time ago, whatever.
Gotcha.
But what I usually do, I started this 2 years ago. This will be my 3rd annual one. Women's wellness retreats. So it'll be here in Dickson on 131 Main Street, which is a Airbnb.
Oh, cool.
And I bring in other women in wellness so that we can form a community, so that you can learn things you may have always been curious about but hadn't tried. Even if you're like so new to health, you don't know anything, this is for you. Or if you're seasoned in it but you just want to connect with more people, this is for you. And so we do things like we have yoga classes, Pilates, bar. We do workshops, nutrition. We eat really good food from local people in restaurants, but we also cook together, and I show you how simple it can be to make a healthy meal.
Well, that sounds like a good time. That's exciting.
We do journaling, we do grounding, we do breath work, we do guided meditation.
Wow.
Last year we did sound therapy with singing bowls.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of a little introduction to a lot of different things, and then you can expand on it if you choose to. We stay connected. Last year, no one that came knew each other, but they all knew me. So I was the common ground. But by the last day, everyone was like hugging each other and sad that it was over. And
Well, I think that's an important thing, is a lot of people think that they're on this journey by themselves, and there's a lot of people out there that are in that same position as they are. It's just a matter of how do you find those groups or tribes, however you want to classify it. And that's part of the purpose of doing this podcast as well, is to kind of bring these people together, make them feel a little safer, give them better options, because a lot of times they get pigeonholed and say 2 or 3 things, and that's all they focus on, and that gets boring.
Yeah.
Like you said, you have to find a variation of things to do. Keeps it exciting.
So I had dreamed about this retreat for like probably 5 years. And then 3 years ago I said, I'm just gonna book the Airbnb, and then I'm gonna have to do it.
Let's do it.
And so the first year turned out great. Last year was even better. This year will be even better. And then to fill in the gaps in between, I have done some workshops. So back in January, I did make your own elderberry syrup workshop.
Oh, nice.
They just paid, and they came, and all the supplies and tools were there. We made it together. I do it with you. You go with the recipe. You can make more later on for your family.
That's awesome.
Then in March, we did make your own seed oil-free salad dressing. And so I used local greens from Clean Gene Farms.
I love them.
In McEwen. So we used their lettuce, and then we had some local sourdough bread made. And then I had the recipes, I had all the things, and then we ate a big, beautiful salad together, and it was so fun. And so I want to do more things like that. I love the hands-on workshops.
Well, and I think that's a huge challenge, since you brought that up, is that, and with changing eating, I think the biggest challenge is, how do you make it the texture properly? How do you make it taste good? That's the big thing, is that all the processed foods are chemically changed to make them taste better. Right. So I think that has probably been one of our biggest challenges going through this health journey, is how do you make it taste great? And I'm going to tell you, when you have the right combinations, it's 10 times better than anything you could buy in a restaurant.
Totally.
All of that stuff is.
And that, with this cookbook that I'm writing, has been that too. The texture, like I said, when gluten-free first came out, it all tastes like cardboard.
It's tough.
But I want to show you, like, you can eat like that and it still tastes good.
Yeah.
You're not sacrificing quality of ingredients, texture. You're going to have to make it, but I'm focusing on 30 minutes or less, kid approved. You can meal prep it ahead of time, reheats easily. You can freeze it for later. So I'm trying to hit all the things.
And all the topics, yeah.
And then also, when you eat, so if someone struggles a lot with inflammation, so that can lead to a whole slew of diseases. If you removed dairy, gluten, say red meat, just for example, you would see drastic changes in your inflammation. And I'll just use my husband, for example, who is a patient of yours.
Well, that's what's bringing him up.
Yeah. So he had been struggling with high cholesterol, really high triglycerides.
Yep.
And borderline pre-diabetic with the A1C. So when I got alpha-gal, I said, this is why we're eating. Sorry.
Most of us men are not big about giving up our beef.
So he said, and we have a whole half of a cow in the freezer. He said, okay, like, he's not picky, thank goodness. And so he started eating like me. So from January to now, and then he has blood work redone. And his primary care doctor said, I don't even think I'm looking at your blood work. Like, this cannot be your blood work. So his A1C went from like 5.8 to 5.2.
Isn't that crazy?
Crazy. Basically reversed his chances of getting diabetes. Yep. His triglycerides, they were in the thousands. They're now 153. I mean, crazy.
Well, that just shows you how powerful. That's just nutrition.
That's
I know he's
nutrition.
active, so I know he wasn't exercising it, but just nutrition. Mm-hmm. And like I said, to me, I don't understand how more primary doctors can't get their patients because I guess the pill's too easy. I just take this. But that pill is just a short-term fix, and they're just getting sicker and sicker and sicker.
With lots of side effects.
But
then now you got to take another pill.
Yeah.
So for him, it was primarily the nutrition. He did make some other lifestyle changes, like going to the gym more than 3 days a week. He started going 5.
That's awesome.
But Yeah, like just like I was saying, when I get a client, that's the first thing I ask them to do. Please, for 5 days, I want you to journal for me what you're putting in your mouth.
Yep.
Because that if I don't look at that first, I don't really know where to go. You can tell me all these symptoms, but if you have a rash or you have bloating, I might can see where it's coming from if I just look at your diet.
Yeah, and I think, isn't it funny when people start to write, they probably don't even realize what they're doing to themselves, and they
Yeah.
go, "Oh my God, I had 6 Cokes."
Yeah.
Because
Oh my gosh, I just ate a whole box of donuts.
they do it out of habit.
Yeah.
They don't think about it.
Totally.
So it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you so much for coming in and sharing with us. This is something that health has always been one of my passions from many, many years back. And like I said, we always like to tell everybody that, health is a jigsaw puzzle. It's not me, it's not you. It's bringing everything together to make that picture of health.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was just talking to a girl today, another client of mine, and she said, I hate working puzzles. And I said, I know, but really your health, it's not, no, everyone doesn't fit in a box. And I have to look at you as an individual person, but as a whole person, which I know is a chiropractic principle. And that's what we've gotten away from. And so,
yeah, I love it. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I know you're changing lives, and that's what it really comes down to, is we're all changing lives, and the lives are around those people. So it's not just one person. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me.
You've been listening to Beyond the Adjustment, where we have conversations with other health-minded professionals to create a healthier community.